Welcome to the Ask Guidr Roundtable. I'm Lisa Rozier, and a lot of our Guidr team are on vacation this week. So you also have Leslie Blaine, that's in our marketing department. Part of our marketing team is joining us as well today. And we also have Dinesh Chawla. Dinesh, wave, hi. Dinesh is one of our Guidr ambassadors and is always willing to join and contribute to these wonderful conversations. So just to start off with, there are some familiar faces that are with us today, and then some new names. So I just kind of, as always, like to say hi to our Tom and Jordan. Hello. And Scott, you are a new face. Welcome. What brings you to the Ask Guidr Roundtable today?
Thank you.
What was that?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And what brings you to the roundtable today?
I'm checking out the demo, and Brianna invited me to attend these. I wasn't able to attend last month's, and so I'm just giving it a little look-see. Many years ago, when Lawyers with Purpose was called Medicaid Practice Systems, I was a member of that, and in fact, David's the one who taught me Medicaid planning in the first place, at least pre-planning. So
great.
I'm here.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And this is a open conversation, free-flowing idea sharing session. So please jump in and contribute when you would like to.
I'm here more to listen than participate. So
that works. Well, listen away, sir.
Thank you.
Dave, there's a new name. Welcome. We can't see you, but I see your name. Nicole, are you available to say hi? Oh, wait. Oh,
hi.
No. Okay.
I don't know if this was a video on thing or what was happening.
No, absolutely. Video on. We like participation. So welcome to your first Guidr Roundtable. Let everybody know who you are and what brings you to the discussion today.
So I'm Nicole Rigo. I'm from Monteforti Law. We're a estate planning elder law firm from Woburn. We just joined LWP and we're going to implement Guidr. So I'm just watching to see what it's all about, what we're going to do. Few reservations as far as selecting out. So I'd be interested in hearing a little bit about that, make sure that people don't do that. That's really it. And then I invited my office manager, Stephanie, on this call too. She oversees all of our intake.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Welcome, Stephanie, to the conversation. So, all right, so let's just jump in. A couple of big announcements with Guidr and the platform particularly. So if you've been with us in the past or have listened to the recordings, I think it was Dinesh and his team had brought up the ability to package up the healthcare proxy and power of attorney to make it a specific package within the offerings on the Guidr platform. And that has been put together and it will be launched. We are calling it thank you, Dinesh, the Powers Package Documents. So now end users can come to the platform and they can get their essentials, which is all three. They can get their powers, which is healthcare proxy power of attorney, or they can a la carte based off of their needs. And so why we think that was a great opportunity to have the powers package put together is for instances of those like emergencies, they're in the hospital, they need the basics right now, or the real estate story, which we've talked about a couple times, just getting the basic documents put in place, prepping the kids to go back to college. So there's been a lot of creative different ways and conversations where we're like, you know what, these might be the two basic documents that we need before we start moving forward. So that's a great update there, and a big notice will be going out on the listserv, which all of you are a part of, and it will also be going out in our emails as well to make the announcement. So that's really exciting. The other thing that we wanted to put in there is just to remind everyone about the promo capabilities. If you are using a platform, don't forget to use your promos. It's been really big in conversations with our team members and all of our other Guidr members when they're going through the process. It's just reminding them to use those promo codes, issue one to every single team member. Any type of synergistic relationship that you have, please make sure that you're issuing those out as well. They're great for tracking capabilities, and also for your synergistic relationships, it makes them look like the hero when they're talking to your clients, offering them the discount. So That's some of our laundry work and announcements that we wanted to get out the door today. So I do want to open the floor, and Dinesh, I'm going to call on you. He's like, yeah, Lisa, thanks a lot. So for those of you that don't know, Dinesh has a law firm in Michigan, and he has really embraced Guidr. And each time that we get together, you're always giving us some success story or something new that has happened. So I didn't know if you had anything going on this time, Dinesh. And after we talk about that, if we can jump into Nicole's question about the reservations that team members might have, thinking that they're going to lose, for lack of a better term, the red carpet client to online documents. So
okay, that's easy. Well, we've actually had both in the last week. So last night, and this isn't Guidr's fault, but this is the first horror story we've had.
Okay.
It was the second time we've done remote online notarization with our documents. And both times, and I find this kind of funny because the notary that we're using, only reason we're using her is because my application is in a 10-week backlog at the state of Michigan to use the platform. So she's in my network, and I decided to use her against my reservations because at one point she said that I appear unprofessional, so she would never refer me to a client because I like to have fun in our networking meetings.
Oh, come on.
So I used her service, and it was the most unprofessional experience I've ever had in my life. Like, there were so many glitches. You could tell she didn't test the product from a client perspective first. So both experiences have been a complete disaster. It took us probably an hour and a half last night to get through notarizing the will and the 2 powers of attorney. So that was a horror story on the notary side, which I'm hoping to get better. But the way the 2 technological platforms allowed us to collaborate to make everything happen without ever stepping in front of the client, like physically in front of the client, was awesome. Like, it was super exciting to know that that's there, and it's only a 10-week backlog away from me being able to control the whole process. So I'm super excited about that. And again, it was somebody in my network who is, and this is the person, this was the client. She's also somebody in my network. She's a single mother, very cost conscious. I think she's in her, let's see, 91. So she's in her 20s or 30s, early 30s. So it was just a perfect situation for that. Now, on the flip side, I have another person in my network who's in the exact same situation, but she referred her grandparents.
Oh.
Her grandparents, I'm meeting in their house on a weekly basis to walk them through everything. They are our red carpet. They don't want to touch Zoom. They don't want to touch anything technological. Luckily, they live a couple miles away, so I don't mind driving over and dropping off papers for them. And they're an awesome, sweet couple. So I totally don't mind doing that, but they get red carpet service from us. It's not it's not an or situation. It's an and or. You're allowed to do both. And for me, the Guidr income, it's not that much yet, but it's passive income for us. I don't even put it in our budget. It's like when it hits the bank on the 28th of every month or the 30th of every month, it's like, wow, this is awesome. It's a bonus for us. So that's a couple of the reasons why I like it so much.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I just want to circle back. Dave, I just saw your comment about explaining Guidr. So my apologies and welcome. So Guidr is online legal documents backed by the local attorney. There's no other business company like us. They say that they're like us, but they're really not. What you do is you enroll to the Guidr platform. You have your will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney. We encourage consumers to go on your website to click on the button and enroll into the platform. They do their documents online at the comfort of their home or wherever it may be, and they enjoy a discounted price. And once they hit submit, it gets reviewed by you and your law firm, and they become part of your client base because those documents are backed by you. Anybody else on this call want to jump in on that, or did I do an okay summary of?
Yeah, I would add a couple things actually, because I think it goes to Nicole's question too. What is Guidr? How does it affect the staff in the office? Isn't that interesting, Lisa? Because the description you just gave was how you could do online documents, right? And then the concern about the staff in the office giving up their red carpet service. What the heck? How does those two correlate?
Right.
So I explain Guidr the way you did, and that's how I explain it if I'm talking to a client.
So I'm going to pause for a really minute. For those of you, this is Dave Zampano. He
Oh.
he is one of the founders of Guidr, and he is also co-founder of Lawyers with Purpose, and has his own law firm in upstate New York. So Dave, just
And it's great to see you, Dave and Scott, some faces I haven't seen in a long time. Guidr, you know, for those of you who know me, you know I'm always innovating, right? I'm not sitting around figuring out what other people are doing. I'm always creating new things for people to follow. What makes Guidr uniquely different, and I think this goes to Nicole's question too. I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to talk a minute about this, because in our executive meetings, we raise this very question. And many of you that have known me for a long time know that I ran into this issue with the iPug trust in the year 2000. You know, everybody wants to say, you can't do that, right? Guidr is the digitization of law. What does that mean? To the consumer, it means what Lisa just said. Somebody talked to me yesterday and said, Dave, you know, I really just need to get something simple. True story. Very good friend of mine, his first cousin went in the hospital. He's 59 years old, had a triple bypass, doesn't have any documents. I said, Lou, just go on my website, hit the Guidr button and do them for him right there. You're a notary, sign them, get them done, you know? And he did. He's like, you're kidding, you can do that? Yeah. So Guidr to the consumer is online documents. That's as simple as say, do it at your own leisure in your bedroom or on your living room sofa. To the attorney, Guidr is very, very different, okay? To the attorney, the Guidr is the digitization of the practice of law. Now, I got to explain this. I'm going to go slow. Some of you may know this because I didn't understand it myself. Guy Reedman, my partner in this, you know, he built the technology company that you now know as Disney Plus. His whole technology team in the UK, he had offices in the UK and in New York and in London. He had them in 2 places in the UK. And his company ultimately was acquired by Disney Plus, and his team built the whole Disney Plus platform. So to give you the idea of the level of knowledge, and I've been with a guy now going on 3 years that I've known him, that I've met him. I've learned so much from him. And for me, when I first heard the digitization of law, I'm like, oh, cool, I'll be able to use my phone. No, this is so far beyond that. So I'm sorry I'm going slow, but this is an important distinction when I'm talking to lawyers. What Guidr is the future management of your law practice. And if you think about it, what it means is how you interact with clients. So for that, employees are afraid you're going to lose the red carpet service. Imagine the opposite. Imagine that Guidr is the red carpet service, because now the client comes in and you can say to them, look, do you want to bring that all back in, or do you just want to go on the app at home and do it and enter it yourself, right? So what you're doing is, what Guidr really is giving the consumer the choice. And this is what it comes down to. It's giving the consumer the choice of how to work with you. And Guidr allows them to work with you 3 ways. Number 1 is the traditional way. Call me up, schedule an appointment, come in and sit down with me. Guidr can do all that for you. Guidr can be the call up. They call up Guidr, they schedule their own appointment right on the Guidr platform, and they're scheduling their appointment to come in and see you. Number 1, boom. Number 1, that's the first way we serve our red carpet. Number 2, virtual. Okay, yes, I want a personal appointment, but I want a Zoom meeting. I don't want to come into the office. I'm afraid of germs, or I'm out of town and I don't want to delay this anymore. I just want to be able to talk to you this way, like we're all talking to you today. That's what I call virtual, right? So that's the traditional method being delivered through technologies of making the personal interaction virtual. But what Guidr does is the third thing that no other platform does. Guidr allows them to choose the digital approach as well. And the digital approach is, I'm going to do this myself. I really don't need you. If I need you, I'll let you know, right? And they get to do as much as they want. And the beauty of the Guidr platform is they could switch between all three. So they could set up the initial consultation with you. Then you could say, look, you know, I've had attorneys actually put the Guidr app on in the office and walk them through and design it. Now, that's not ideal because you don't want to be using your attorney time to do that. But it's good to do once or twice to see the experience and how they react to it. And that's really what the Guidr platform is. It's the digitization of the practice of law, which for red carpet means the client chooses, not us. The client chooses how they work with us. And because we have the platform that does not exist anywhere else, this Guidr platform, we can offer them the luxury of those three different ways of working with us. And that's the future of the practice of law. People, the best phrase I've ever heard, and this was from Scott Blanford. He was our keynote speaker, I think a year and a half ago at our taper, and we're still very actively involved with him. Great guy. His experience is he was the one, he got in early in the year 2000, transforming the financial services industry to online. And so he went through all that, and you know how there's always a backlash. People don't want to change. There's no change. That's where we are in the legal industry. The legal industry doesn't understand this yet. And but we on this call are the ones bringing this forward and say, no, this is what the people want. And I know that because I'm one of those people. I don't go to a car dealership anymore. I don't go anywhere anymore. I do everything online. And then when I want to go in, I go in. Well, that's all we're doing for the practice of law. But what Scott Blanford said was the best sentence I've ever heard with regard to consumers and how they interact for services and goods. People don't want to talk to you until they want to talk to you. I think it's the best phrase in the world that describes the consumer today. They don't want to talk to anyone. They want to see what you offer, see what you do. And then when they want to talk to you, they'll talk to you, right? That's why your website and the Guidr platform is there for them to talk to you without having to talk to you. And then to push the button to talk to you when they want to talk to you. That's again, a slow, exacerbated expression of how, Nicole, I believe Guidr is actually increasing the red carpet because it's shifting control away from the lawyers back to the consumers.
Thanks, Dave. Dinesh?
Yeah, so for us, it's kind of two things. One of my sales coaches, I know the S word's a bad word, but one of my sales coaches calls it just like, you know, is anybody here not a vegetarian? Like, does everybody eat meat? Has everybody been to a fancy steakhouse? They don't just give you your steak, they ask you how you want it cooked. We're not just giving estate plans. We're not just giving documents. We're asking people how they want them. We already give them choices within their power of attorney. Now we're giving them a choice on how to design their power of attorney. So it's, how do you like your steak? My oldest son is out of school right now for 2 weeks. So I had to take him into the probate court yesterday. And we were sitting in the clerk's office. And his question was, couldn't we just do this at home over our computer? Why do we have to sit here and wait? So whereas there are some people who want to go into the clerk's office and drop everything off and know that somebody accepted it and they get that receipt stamp. So again, like, I can see it with my kids. It's a different generation coming up. So we have to understand what their wants and needs are and what's going to keep them coming back to us. He got bored. We were there for 15 minutes. He said it took too long. I was like, wow, this was a breeze today. So it's all a different perspective. We just have to understand what our clients want. The other thing with Guidr, I don't see it as this is our business. This is a part of our business. This is a vehicle in which we can get business and deliver our services. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like I said, it's an added bonus of, it's a part of, it's a vehicle for us. It's a tool for us. So we get to decide how to use it, which means our imaginations are our limits. So instead of having the mindset of, hey, I'm going to come to this roundtable and say, how do you use Guidr, or how should we be using Guidr? Like, I like to come to say, here's how I'm using Guidr, because it's our vehicle, it's our tool. So we get to use it however we want. So what Dave's using for his law firm might not work for mine. And what I'm doing might not work for yours, Nicole. But what Nicole's doing and her strategy to use Guidr might be the perfect thing, because you know your clients, you know your demographics, you know the area you're in and how they should or will respond to it. So just run with it.
Yeah.
Have fun
And
with
that's such a valid point, Dinesh. I mean, through the months of having these roundtable discussions. Actually, Dave, can you put yourself on mute? I'm hearing something and I'm getting an echo. Thank you. Much better. So, through the months of discussion, exactly that has been happening. Everybody's bringing different ideas to the table and whatnot. And I've had the pleasure of working a lot with our member attorneys and getting them set and creating their game plan for implementation using the platform. And actually, Nicole and I had a meeting yesterday. She was one of 5 within a 3-day span. And she had said something that came up 2 other times in meetings. And it was, number one, I have to get my client services head in the game and understanding why this benefits the company. But then I came back and I said, well, Nicole, over the past week, how many times have you gotten an incoming call where the first thing out of their mouth is, how much is this going to cost me? Or they're cost conscious people. And she's like, all the time, Lisa. And I'm sure there's a lot of you on this phone call that have had the same things. People pick up the phone, they're very price conscious. And it's just the perfect introductory to say, hey, listen, Mrs. Jones, if price is a concern and you are comfortable with technology, go to our website, click on the purple button, go do your documents yourself, select self or in-office signing, come on to our office, we'll review it, you're connected to our law firm, and you're going to enjoy a good price point that you're comfortable with, and you're part of our clientele now, part of our firm. So that seems to be a big aha moment that has been happening with a lot of the new member firms that I've been talking with. And then the other thing is just the fact that when the calls are coming in, that it costs you money basically to do just the basic plan. So as you're feeling people out in the conversation, offer them that option, offer them to enroll to online documents to do as much as they can before they come through your doors. Nicole, I don't know if you wanted to share any of those thoughts that you've been having, because your firm is relatively large and fast moving. Dinesh, yep, really quick.
I'm sorry, I just want to piggyback off of are you familiar with technology, or how comfortable are you with technology? I found that when people say I'm not comfortable with it at all, one of the best ways, a really good thing to do is say, is anybody in your family good with technology that might be able to walk you through this? Now you have 2 people going through the Guidr platform instead of just 1.
Love it.
So you got a double dip there.
I love it. See? All right, Nicole, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, well, thank you for all the feedback. It was helpful. I think for us, it was just like, one, getting our staff trained on it, which we have kind of one person who mainly does all the intake, but then we have backup. So we're a firm of 7. And right now we only have 1 attorney. We're down an attorney. So the simple plans, I guess, to put it, are just eating up too much of his time. So we'd like to kind of funnel those through Guidr and take on more of, like the people in Massachusetts who have estate tax issues and kind of the bigger plans. So that's kind of what we were thinking in terms of who we're sending there. And then we have a referral partner that does like the simple, but he stopped paying us referral fees. So he's no longer going to be a referral partner just because we keep sending him things with nothing in return. So that was kind of, how do we spearhead that? How do we kind of figure out, okay, who's perfect for Guidr and like who just, they need more than Guidr. My fear was that the people who do need more than Guidr are going to go to Guidr and then just not contact us, for like the big trust and Medicaid planning and asset protection type planning, which was our original fear. But it sounds like those people kind of already self-select them out based off what you guys are saying on this call, which is helpful. And then just trying to figure out a price point, because
you hit a couple very key points. I just want to highlight. You said something, and I don't know that you realize how impactful what you said was. Hang on, I'm going to go where you don't hear all the sauce. Sorry, I'm freaking construction everywhere, right? It's good, at least you can get them, right? You can't even get them to come in. But here's the thing. You said you're down an attorney, and your team wants to relieve him of that more mundane. We actually did a study in our office. We tracked all time. The base will plans really barely cover the cost of doing them, even if you do them all perfectly and they hire you. What I have done, so what's important, this is very important, is you don't want your staff to view Guidr as an alternative. You want your staff to view Guidr as one of your services, right? So in other words, when I cannot tell you, 9 out of the 10 last people who called me and said, I need this. I'm like, listen, why you want to bother calling? Just go online, click that purple button, go right through it. You'll be done. And then the most important thing is click the attorney signing button at the end. It's an extra 100 and something bucks. Well worth it, because we're going to review everything for you. But I'm going to tell you, you doing it online is 25% of what it's going to cost you if you come in and have me do it. You can come in and have me do it. I brag that it's 25% of what they would pay in, because I'd rather have 5 of those go do it with 0 of my time and then get paid when they come in for the review and signing for my time, and have that relationship. And then you build those success stories. But again, I think your key part there is, Nicole, is your team is understanding the value of your attorney's time. The next step is to get your team to understand the value of their time, right? So think of your funding coordinator, right? Imagine the client could put in their funding information through Guidr. These are all the things we're working toward, right? That again, we're focusing on. We've got 39 of the 50 states. We're doing 1 a week. So as soon as we get that done, there's going to be all kinds of things behind it. The second thing, Nicole, talking about the trust, we do have the estate plan advisor on there. The estate plan advisor is a great tool. Someone says, well, how do I know what I need?
Yeah.
They go through this interview and it says, look, based on what you've said, this is what you need. Now, we don't do the trusts online because those we want to personalize for you, but you still should do your will, healthcare proxy, and power of attorney online before you come into the trust, because that's going to give us 90% of the information we need and reduce the cost of your planning when you come in. So it really is doing the work. My staff is finding it's doing the work that they otherwise would have to follow up with, get it, enter it, do the data entry. Somebody's got to do the data entry. The more we can defer to data entry to the clients, the more efficient your law firm becomes.
And remember, the lawyer's job is just to review the answers at the end and make sure that that's what the client's getting what they need based off what the answers are showing. Anybody can walk them through. Like, I've trained realtors and financial advisors. If you can train a financial advisor, you can train anybody. But I've trained realtors and financial advisors on the Guidr tool. I'm a solo. I have a client service coordinator. That's it. So if you have more resources other than attorneys, they can be walking, your client service coordinator can walk a client through Guidr. So a legal secretary can walk their client through Guidr. And then next level, a financial planner can walk their client through Guidr. And I do it all the time now. Like, if a financial advisor is instructing them to get a will or says you should talk to somebody about getting a will, trust, whatever it is, they can go on Guidr in that office, walk them through the estate plan advisor and say, all right, we can do your will and power of attorney for you right now. And then you talk to this attorney about your trust later. So already,
here's something really cool I've been wanting to do, and we haven't done it yet in the lab. So I encourage any of you to beat me to this, but tell me what you think of this idea. You know how we do workshops generally to educate people? What if we did draft your own document workshops where they came in with their phones, maybe you put a few laptops on the desk, and you're there, you do a little 10-15 minute presentation on difference in a will, healthcare proxy, power of attorney, and then you say, okay, everybody, turn on your computers, go to eplawcenter.com and click on the purple button, and you walk them through it. Imagine a room full of 10 or 15 families, and you're walking them through designing their plan. Where can you find a better use? And this doesn't need to be an attorney. This could be a paraprofessional in the office. Heck, it could even be a client service person. I just haven't gotten to it yet in the lab because we're out doing it to the fire halls and the city halls and the big employers, which is going very well too. But I love the idea. And again, we haven't got to it yet, but I'd love one of you guys to beat us there and just design your own plan workshops where they come in and you're walking them through it while they're doing it on their phones or laptops that you provide in the workshop space.
did it by accident, Dave.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was doing a lunch and learn, which on the Guidr marketing website, there's a lunch and learn presentation. So I was doing a lunch and learn for a real estate broker owner and all of her staff. And I had her volunteer to walk herself through Guidr. So she did a power of attorney for her and her husband, and then entered her credit card in and hit submit. And I showed them everything on the back end too. And I thought she was joking, but she was like, no, just process it and we'll sign the documents. So they've got a mini plan in place now, the broker owner and her husband, and all the other agents got to see it. But now you just gave me an idea to say, all right, everybody pull out your phones. You're going to get a quick and cheap. And then at the end, we'll enter a discount code so they get it even better. But now I've got 15 plans under my belt. So that's a great idea. Thanks, Dave.
I love that idea, Dave.
Yeah, well, it is. And I got to tell you something else with your financial advisor relationships. I think I've shared this with you. We have one financial advisor, very successful. He's got 8 advisors under him. As an office protocol, he's been a big fan of wills forever. He wants his clients to have will, healthcare, proxy, power of attorney. Short story is, this is actually the financial advisor that I worked with for years that gave me the idea to go build Guidr. And it took me 3 times to successfully do it. And he actually requires his 8 professionals to do the planning right in the office. They put a TV in the room, in their conference room, and he instructs them, go on the site and do it with them right there. You walk them through it. So now we have financial advisors walking clients through it because it's so important to them. I've also heard recently, I think, Dinesh, maybe this came from you, but I know in our own office, real estate people getting frustrated because someone doesn't have a power of attorney to sign something here and there. Bam, they're opening it up and getting it done and doing it all right there, and within the hour. So it's amazing. Again, it's an option, it's a tool, it's a technology. It gives us access to serve clients in new ways and serve relationships, professional relationships in new ways.
That's awesome. Thank you. So Tom, Jordan, Crystal, Dave, Begley, haven't heard from you. Didn't know if you wanted to chime in with any questions or comments with regards to anything on the platform.
Soaking up information.
Love it. Thanks, Tom. And Jordan, you were with us last month. Any progress between last month and this month?
We're still feeling out the process. That's why Henry wants me to just keep coming to these roundtables and just getting updates, things like that. But we really haven't pulled the trigger yet, so to speak. So, my goal is to just keep gathering the information and then kind of report back to him until we can, finally come to an agreement where he might say, all right, let's do this now. So that's still where we are. We're still in that, the deciding phase.
Jordan, I think let me just answer Jordan. I love that, Jordan. One of the things that we really don't want to present here at LWP and Guidr is get rich quick. This is not easy, quick, and easy. I mean, I'm going to be honest. It's a process. It's a commitment. This is not something you do when you're generating revenue month 1. This is something, it requires a change in the whole mindset of your staff because it's different. It also requires a change. We, as the innovators of this, when I say we, I mean everyone on this phone and other people who have adopted it, we are innovating the industry as we speak. We are educating the consumer from the ground up. There's not multi-gazillion-dollar campaigns like Zoom. It's ground up. It's from the local lawyers saying, hey, look, there's a new way to work with us. And it's a great way for local lawyers to distinguish themselves from other local lawyers. And I got to tell you, all my former employees, lawyers who now have competing law firms, they are frustrated as hell that they don't have Guidr. The funny part is they could get Guidr, but they don't pursue it because of other reasons. But it is work. It's a shift in mindset and it takes time. So Jordan, I appreciate your diligence and we much rather have you that diligence so that when you do make that decision, you're ready to hit the ground running and really commit to, changing an industry.
Just remember, if you haven't already, we can get you into the development, the demo environment. I was figuring my word, the demo environment. So Brianna can send you that information, but basically we have a demo site which allows you to get in and just sample the platform from a consumer end and from a law firm end. So if you do need those directions just to sample it along, I can get you connected with Brianna and she will be able to get you moving with that.
Something else
Absolutely.
the demo site will help you with, for those of you who have not accessed the demo site, is you'll see the attorney side, the dashboard side that you as the attorney get to set up a lot of defaults. So it's not like it's a free-for-all. Like Dinesh was saying to Nicole, everyone uses their own way. You could set those defaults up in ways that you're comfortable with. Default settings on choices that they make within the planning, default settings on how billing's directed. There's a whole MyRate, there's a whole attorney dashboard where you get to set your own defaults on how the site works for you.
So
And if you
that's
have
a
a couple
perfect
questions,
segue
Rocky,
into, it's a perfect segue. Dave Begley asked, what are people pricing this at? I know, Nicole, you had that question as well. And for all of our attorney law firms that are on the site or on this call, please let us know how you are picking your price points. I've heard everything from it's the same price as if they came into my office all the way down to 75% then versus off basically from walking through their doors. So Dinesh, Tom, how do you guys plan on pricing it?
Scott has put in his thoughts into the chat on how he thinks he's going to do it.
I'll answer really quick because pricing is my nemesis on everything that I've ever done in business. It's like the hardest thing to do, especially because I want to help a lot of people. Like I don't like pricing. So what I did, I happen to have good relationships with all of the other Michigan owners with Guidr. And I talked to them about how they were pricing. And we all kind of came to close numbers, but based off of, again, our locations, they're indexed differently. So I'm in a different type of area than Jack Wires is. So he is priced a little bit below what I'm priced. We also have different methods of doing our follow-up services. So I'm priced a little bit higher because my annual review process, it's not like a big like program that we have. We just reach out to all of our clients on an annual basis with very rudimentary checklists, but we have a follow-up service that's included in our price points. They don't. So we do price a little bit higher based off that. But we've all talked to each other to kind of figure out what our strategies are, and that's how I came up with my pricing. But ours is basically, we've got our $79 powers of attorneys, and then for the essentials package, our will I think is a la carte $199, and then for the essentials package we charge $278. So they're getting $199 plus $79 and one power of attorney for free, basically.
And compare that to your regular red carpet price walking in the office.
For a single person, our base will plan is $900.
Okay, so you kind of get an idea. Thank you for sharing that, Tom. I see you're up.
I was anticipating somebody coming in with an objection to the getting together with your friends and talking about the price. There was a big concern, Chicago, we're kind of the epicenter of it. The Chicago Bar Association published a list of here's what you will charge. And everybody charged the same thing and they got in trouble for it. This was back in the 60s. So there's been a lot of skittishness, particularly with lawyers who are closer to my age, that you're not supposed to talk with your friends about what you price. We're not influencing the market by what we price. We're not going to be changing anyone's access to legal services by what we charge. We can't dictate prices, particularly with the online services being somewhat of a competition, although I don't see them as competition. I plan on looking at what the online services are doing and then being kind of like Scott, being higher than that. But I also want to talk to other potential people. I think Erich will eventually do Guidr in Illinois, and I don't want to be fighting with him. So it would be somewhere a combination between Scott and Dinesh's approaches, if that's not too nebulous.
And you know what it is?
They're
The
the
beauty
outside
is-
bumpers and I have to be in the middle.
And Tom, the beauty is if you need to change that price point, you go
Yeah.
right into your back end and you change your price point because you control it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have a big billboard on the highway that says $79 wills.
No.
Well, I think the other thing is two things. I love Scott's thought because I'm right where Scott, I would have answered exactly what Scott said. To restate what Scott said in the chat is, look at the self-help sites are and be at the high end of that or a little more. I think, just think about you and I. Wouldn't you pay more for a lawyer rather than a self-help site? Just knowing it's a local law firm that you connect to. I think there's a value to that. I think that's a distinguishing factor. But where I would also go on the pricing, I'll be honest with you, consider making the pricing higher and giving bigger discounts. So what I like about this is the discount code. This is what you got to appreciate. The discount code is your tracking of where the consumer's coming from, right? So you go to a financial professional and say, look, online it's $450, but we're going to give your clients 30% discount. They just got to put in the code SAS for Scott A. Salas 30 or whoever the referral source is. Make it their name 30 so the consumer knows they're getting a 30% discount because of that person. I think that creates more value for the relationship and the referral. So I view Guidr a lot like I view the practice of law. Are you getting your business through general retail marketing or are you getting your business through relationship marketing? I think Guidr has a big advantage for relationship marketing because there's a lot of financial professionals that will drive their consumers there because it's easy. They don't have to bother you. They don't have to get complicated, and they can get their clients to get that basic documents, and they get the benefit of saying, hey, my name just saved you 30%. And then, hey, I'll even do it for it. So I think that's another thing to consider is bump the prices and then increase your discounts.
Right, I love that. Thank you. So Crystal, I know that I don't see you. I know that you're here. Didn't know if you had any thoughts with regards to utilizing Guidr in New York City area, if you're there. Yes, no. Okay, she's probably sidetracked. So, all right. So we got about 15 minutes to go. We covered a ton of great stuff. Just another reminder that the Powers package is in place and you will now be able to have that as an option. For our newbies that joined us, there is a plethora of other Ask Guidr roundtables that you can listen to. You can go right to the attorney-driven website for Guidr, which is lawyerswithpurpose.guidr.legal. And I just put that in the chat. You can go there. You can read frequently asked questions from our, we had an ethics attorney that we worked with. If you have any questions about that, all the roundtables are there. Additional, we have the legal community podcast, and there's a bunch of other information on that website. So just know that you can go there, check it out. If you need access to the demo site, just shoot me an email afterwards, and I'll get you connected to the right people. And I think that's it, unless anybody else had any other marketing fun things that we've heard or you've experienced over the past couple months that you would like to share. Oh, actually, yes, I want to bring something up. So I was talking with a team member over at Peggy Timmel's law firm, one of our member attorneys, and it was more of a personal thing. One of her team members' siblings went through a divorce, and one of the first things she said was you have to update your documents and get them in place, and price was a concern, and he was not in Kentucky with them. So she found a member attorney within our network and got him all set up within hours with his proper documents in place. So if you are working with divorce attorneys or you know of anyone that is going through divorce, this is just another approach that you can utilize Guidr with.
One other thing I would add, for those of you that are licensed in multiple jurisdictions, you could be on the Guidr for each of those jurisdictions. So for example, I'm licensed in New York and Florida. Well, if I choose, it's not automatic, but if I choose, anyone in Florida that puts in an area code in Florida will get my law firm in New York that pops up as a an available firm, even though I don't have a Florida location to practice. And where that'll be helpful is for someone in Florida that also lives in New York, they might say, oh my gosh, well, that will be convenient because then, you know, I have both covered kind of thing. So remember, whatever jurisdiction you're in, Guidr permits you to open those portals within the platform.
Wonderful. And one more question about exclusivity. Guidr, the question was asked, is Guidr exclusive, the territory exclusive? Is that what you meant, Scott? Or exclusive to as a Lawyers of Purpose membership?
Territory. So,
Territories.
you know, for example, I mean, on the extreme side of this, if Tom wanted to cover the whole state of Illinois, he'd be able to do that with something like Guidr and build a hell of an addition onto his practice. But in order to do that, that might be something that y'all are not interested in. And so I definitely want to, I don't want another Guidr lawyer coming in the counties that I typically serve, and could foreseeably see us expanding our coverage and reach. But I also see the other side of it, that, you know, you're in business to get as much service like this out to the public as possible, and the lack of exclusivity would help with that. So I just don't know where y'all come down.
I love that, Scott, because people, and you know, from, I can't believe it's been since 2006, but you know, right. Lawyers of Purpose, we've never had, even back in 2006 when we were MPS, we never had exclusivity. And the American Academy does have exclusivity. They're our exact model with exclusivity. We're without exclusivity. And they actually license some of our materials, our Medicaid stuff, because it's so cutting edge. But here's the important thing you got to realize about the way we approach the world. You and I shouldn't, I mean, what I love is Dinesh talking to other attorneys in the network, they work together. But when you come to look at Guidr, and this really goes back to Dave Begley's question earlier, what is Guidr? Guidr is an extension of you. So when you think about your marketing, I don't care if 3 other attorneys in town have it, because I have a different distribution channel. I have a different network of people that I'm working it with. So for me, this goes back to Nicole. It actually brings all the conversations together. How do we use it best for what we do now, right? You've got relationships, relationship management, you've got referral sources, you've got people, right? Use this tool for that. The guy next door doesn't have those relationships you have. That's where the discount codes become so critical. And that's why I believe ultimately Guidr is going to have a greater value when this plays out with the referral relationships than it is going directly to the consumer. I think we'll always get some direct from consumer people that will like that. But, you know, you got the legal Zooms and all that stuff that have built a big groundwork for that. But the people who want lawyers and the people who want you, Scott, or you, Tom, or, you know, or you, Jordan, this is just a new way for them to get you. And I think that's the important distinction, is the Guidr is a new tool for you to exhibit your services. And there's a lot more to come with Guidr too, which is kind of cool. But I think that's a great distinction. Thanks for sharing.
So, and I'll piggyback that, but in the reverse way. So Scott, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. In your practice, in your services that you offer, do you draft wills?
Oh, we do full service estate planning.
Right. So you draft wills, you draft trusts, you draft powers of attorney.
Everything. Elder law.
Do other estate planning attorneys in your local 5-mile radius also draft wills, draft powers of attorney, draft trusts? We all offer the same services. We all offer the same services. Guidr is no different than any of those other tools to incorporate in your practice. We all offer the same services. How do we distinguish ourselves? People are looking too specifically at Guidr and Guidr as its own entity. It's a tool. We all use wills. We all use wills. We all use trust. Now we have the opportunity to be first in the market to use a tool where everybody else is going to have to catch up. So we're definitely not the first attorneys to use wills and trusts as a tool, but now we can be the first to use Guidr as a tool to develop those wills and trusts.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there. Is it Dinesh? Is that the way you pronounce it?
Yeah.
That, I like what you're saying there, because when I discussed this with my team about doing this, one of their biggest concerns, and I think it was Dave who addressed this earlier in the session, was that, wait a minute, we're a hand-holding type of a firm. We're there whenever they need us. If they consider it an emergency or urgent, we're gonna bend over backwards to serve them. And that's how we built our practice. And their biggest objection is we don't want to lose that. Okay. And so, because that's what makes us so different from everybody within our basically 3-county area. So, that resonates. I'm satisfied with it.
Well, I think it goes back to what we shared with Nicole earlier though too, Scott, which is this is a new way to service those people, red carpet. And I'm going to share something else with you. So this is, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but imagine that somebody was innovative and created this platform and envisioned that what's really going to happen. Like we all also have hot docs based programs, don't we? Or some other version of it. Imagine that that same program has a front facing and a back facing, so that Scott Sellis is actually going to Guidr to do his drafting for his clients. So in other words, that's ultimately where Guidr's going. We're about maybe 8 to 12 months away from that. But what's going to happen is we're going to actually have the same platform digitized where the lawyer is using the same platform the consumer is, but as different things are turned on and off for the consumer. The consumer is not going to get the more complex stuff that we have in our systems, right? That's going to be reserved to the lawyer's use. And this goes back to Nicole, your internal team, right? Everybody's using the same thing. That's where you get efficiencies, profitability, and what they call digitization. I mean, it's really cool. Again, the industry's changing, and we're pushing it, we're driving it, and I really, all of you here, you're really on the front end of it. Even though we're a year into it that we've launched, you're still on the very front end of it because this is very slow changing the legal industry. So,
well, I want
cool
to
stuff ahead.
I want to congratulate you first, David, because I want y'all to know that in 2009, which was when very early stages of my estate planning portion of my career, I launched the Florida Online Law Firm, and it was not a good situation. And then in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I went back to that service provider that I had used before, and the idea was to provide free powers of attorney, healthcare proxies, et cetera, to frontline workers, which I did and advertised on social media and a variety of other things, and it was fairly successful. But I got to tell you that the documents, I couldn't stand behind it. Okay, and so there's only one other service I know of, and just don't even bother. Okay. I'm just going to tell you now, don't even bother if you're thinking about it, because it's awful.
Well, and I think the other important part here, Scott, is the LWP community. I think that's really important. You see it with Tom, you see it with the Nash Talks. They all talk to each other. They're all in it together. They're all helping each other, supporting each other. They all have the same challenges, they're all implementing the same systems and processes. Everybody implementing Guidr. And the most important thing is our help desk, right? Because we listen to our members. If our members, and I'm gonna give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example of a common request we get from attorneys that implement Guidr. These documents aren't sophisticated enough. We need to add all these provisions, right? And our answer is no, we're not gonna do that. That's for them to come into your office for that. This is for the people who want cheap, easy, and quick. That's what we're giving them here, cheap, easy, and quick. And we're giving them access to your office for the more sophisticated. And I think what we're going to see over time with the Guidr platform, as I said, it's about digitizing the practice. What's going to happen, this goes back to Nicole's question that I love about the team. The team is going to start delegating some of their tasks to the technology. They're going to start saying to the consumer, look, when you go home, go to our website, click on this app, or just here's a direct link and enter your data. Enter the information you need or scan it in, and then bam, it's there for our people to then work on it from there, build the tables, things of that nature. But those are all the things coming in the digitization of law. So I think you're spot on, Scott.
Yeah, thank you. Well, a lot of what my frustration has been, the reason I really want this is that it seems over the last year or so, I'm getting more and more entrepreneurs coming in who want to get their affairs in order, but they're busy and they just can't get in. And it's like they'll pay us, and then it's months and months and months. And this gives them the opportunity to do the heavy lifting on their time schedule. A lot of them, they're not like multi-million-dollar small businesses. They're mom and pop businesses are getting started, and they're busting their tail to make it into the company they want it to be, and they can't take time out during the day, or they have young children, and they're not.
And Scott, that's another vision of the future of Guidr. We're already in conversations with different attorneys around the country who have built a practice model around business planning, LLCs, and all that. And we're like, listen, if you can, again, we have pretty high standards, but we're working with a couple in particular that, we think might be able to bring those services to Guidr as well. That's our goal, right? To start bringing the business services. So you're right on. In fact, in the basic power of attorney now, we do offer an upsell of business powers, right? So for the business owner. So I think you're spot on. And Scott, my point here is you as a member of Guidr will direct the future of what Guidr is doing, because we're an attorney organization. This is all about the attorneys. It's always been about the attorneys. It's about making the attorneys relevant in this day and age that the technology is trying to make us irrelevant, and we're not. We're trying to digitize down the stuff that we can, but also digitize up to bring people back into us that need our services. So I think it's a win-win all the way around. So that being said, I'm sorry it took us to the top of the hour anyway, Lisa.
Okay.
But
It's
this is
been-
good philosophical conversation.
I know.
That we lawyers, we chop on this stuff,
Every time there's just such great conversations, and as I'm sure we've impacted, and hopefully everyone that's new that joined us, you had some great takeaways and some food for thought. So thank you again. You have the website. You can always reach out and share the word, spread the word, bring team members next time, 4th Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Eastern. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.